Hello, scrappy friends, it's Simone. I am participating in the Stash Bash YouTube Hop this month. The topic is stamps, and I am going to scrapbook this photo. It is of my son who doesn't really like reading. When he took the Harry Potter book to the ballpark to read while his brother was playing, and these are the stamps that I pulled. And this is the sketch that I think I want to adapt. I had the idea last month that I could use the washi strips and make my own pattern paper from it. And then I had the idea to cut the hearts from that strip. And those are the stamps I think I will use for the title. And the other stamps I wanted to use as embellishments, but I didn't end up doing that. I went a totally different route. That's why this is sped up so high. I used gesso and primed my page before I started working on it. And then I cut out those hearts from the washi paper, and now I'm using an Elle Studio kit. I think it is the June or May 2017 Elle Studio kit, and just try to use elements and for clustering. However, there were only really two cards that I liked, so I pulled out some really old 6x6 paper pad that I bought at a garage sale from our local scrapbook store and pulled greens and blues and things that I thought went with the color scheme. And then I fuzz around with the layering for a very, very long time. That's why it is still sped up so much. I think some people, it just comes so easily to them, so naturally, and sometimes it does to me too. But with this layout, I had a really, really hard time layering, figuring out what I wanted and how big the layers were supposed to be. So in the background, I have the hearts that I wanted to use and the embellishments that I picked. And I noticed that if I wanted an embellishment on each of the hearts, that I would need more embellishments. So I'm stamping this is the Reed stamp set from Elle Studio, and I will link all the products in the description box below. So you can, if you are interested in any of the stamps, they will be down there. And I'm using the Memento Tuxedo Black ink, and that is a really very nice stamp ink pad. I haven't really used it very often yet because it seeps through my planner pages and it's just so juicy that I haven't really needed it yet. I often use the VersaFine ink, but for this layout this was perfect because the embellishments will just be really black. And you just saw me making embellishments, and now I want to have watercolor in the background, and I'm using the packaging technique. And yeah, I guess you all know Missy Whiddon. She is like the queen of the packaging technique, and she just does amazing things with it. And if you want to see a pro, go watch her videos. But it's simply you just take color and spread it on packaging, and then you put it on the paper. And when you're messy like me, then you have your brush in your hand and then you mess up the rest of the background. But I'm just going to roll with it and embrace my messiness, and then there is just some color up there. I am using the watercolor. It is the St. Petersburg set. Irid Landgraf recommended it to me. I have been wondering which one to get. I wasn't really happy with the one I had, and this one I really, really like, and I use it because I actually do not really have any other inks or ink sprays like all of the other YouTubers you see. They are probably seasoned scrapbookers and have this stuff sitting around and have been able to build up their stash of staple elements. I have not. So I'm just using what I have on hand, and you can do the packaging technique with everything you have, with all the colors you have. And so, yeah. And I'm not only using the packaging technique, I'm also just using my brush directly on the paper. After making the splotches, I just go back in and make it more colorful. So the color needs to dry, and I am going to work on this photo cluster. As you can see, I cut apart the journaling card that I used as the first element on the page. I thought it looked much better underneath the photo. And yeah, so I cut all of the stamped embellishments out, and I'm looking for a nice placement. I really like the stack of books over there right next to the super cool, just because books are super cool, and it also helps spread the embellishment cluster underneath, so it's like a shelf for the photo, because the super cool would be way too short for that. And now I'm cutting out everything that I think I want, and this phrase I really liked, and I thought it would work really well on that label. And instead of stamping it right onto the label, I just used the stamped out image, or not stamped out words, and cut them out and placed them on there so that I could see what it looked like. I'm playing around again, and I'm looking where I could place the embellishments that I picked from the Elle Studio kit, and just looking what I like, what I don't like. And I really want to have a large cluster right where the book stack is, so the camera is going to be there, and that blue circle embellishment. And then I decide, no, yes, okay, this one works, but I don't want the hexagon there. It just wasn't right. Since I had circles at the bottom, I am just going to go with circles. And then I'm bringing back in the hearts. Maybe I can have 3 hearts somewhere clustered around the photo. No, I don't like it. And yeah, the paper or the color is dry, the paint is dry, and I realize I have clustered so much around my photo that most of the color is covered up. So I'm just going back in with even more color and splotching it on, and using my paintbrush to spread it even further. And especially the watercolor is not very opaque. I have to look that up. It's not very opaque, so, or it doesn't really cover and is very intense. So if I want to have intense color, I need to go in and grab it right with the brush and put it on the places I really want it to be darker or more intense. And now I'm just so that the intensity isn't really that big, I'm just going in and having some of the not so intense color around. Okay, I like this, and it's gotta dry again, and I am going to use that time to work on my title. I haven't decided between any of the stamps, but I'm really and fairly certain that this is not going to be it. I'm just going to stamp out the word caught, and when I pull out the other stamp, both again are from Elle Studio. I really love their stamps. This is the Malaya alphabet that Jen Scow made, and I received this in a grab bag, and I'm so happy that I got it. It is not as easy to stamp because the letters have different sizes, so you can't just draw a line and be done with it. And I really don't like drawing lines on gesso because I haven't really found a way to erase pencils from gesso primed backgrounds. So I need to find a different way. But I really like the way it looks. It looks a little bit like, yeah, it just fits the theme of the layout. It is about my son who is reading, and it just works well. So, Okay, let's continue. I have this cluster here. This is how I think it should go. But now I'm just putting the things that I thought would go on the paper again. But now where do I place my title? This on top is where it was supposed to be from the sketch. However, since I'm not following the sketch anymore, I don't have to place my title there. And yes, it's okay like that. But then there is this really strange trapped space underneath the card. And I really liked the clusters the way they were. So I fuzz again and I decide, no, I don't like this. But what if I would turn the whole paper around? And this is exactly what it needs. Turning the paper around makes this layout just so much better. I can keep my embellishment clusters where I thought I wanted to have them. I can have the title right underneath the picture. I didn't want to have the title go out of the colored side, and it looks like it is a little bit off-centered layout. So I'm thinking about having an embellishment cluster on the top left, but that will eventually be dropped later on. I like the way the title is placed, but I didn't like the way it read. Caught reading was just strange, so I added the U, which also helped me get rid of that strange white space that was right after the caught. And I did not use a pencil to mark a line. I just used this triangle to guide my line, because first of all, the letters aren't the same height. And yeah, it just worked really well this way. I used Memento Tuxedo Black ink for my stamping my embellishments, but I went to StazOn for stamping on the gessoed background, just because I knew that it would definitely work, and I didn't want to experiment with other inks that I haven't used before. So now I am going to assemble the page. Off camera, I had used craft foam to bring up the photo, so I need to put some craft foam underneath the parts of the embellishment that will not rest on top of the photo. And yeah, I also have to adhere my photo cluster. I really need to be more mindful of gluing that down when before I have all of the embellishments and added stuff on top. Last time I did a layout, I couldn't even put my adhesive runner on the back, so I had to use wet glue. And there is still some foam needed underneath that camera embellishment, and then I am going to I want to have that label there, but before I can add that, I need the journaling. And I did that off camera because I often, when I want to do extensive journaling, I get stuck when I write. So I need to think of that before, and so I did that off camera in my project notebook, and then I went and just copied it onto the paper. I'm stamping the sentiment with the Memento ink again, and then I'm just cutting down the label a bit to make it more symmetrical, and then just gluing it down with some wet adhesive, and then this almost finishes off the layout. I'm stamping the date on this green label, and I will add it to the top embellishment cluster, and I really, really like how this layout turned out. Now, this layout totally did not end up as I thought it would, but I still really, really enjoyed the whole process. Thank you so much for watching. I have some really fun things planned for my channel, so I would totally love for you to subscribe. There is the next video in this hop is up on screen right now. Just hop over and continue watching. I will see you next time. Bye.